Hey everyone, Jason here with the JDstucks YouTube channel, and welcome to Layout Update 12 of Jason's O-Gauge Trains. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope you're enjoying the excitement of the new Lionel catalog that was just released. I'm not doing a catalog review today. I'd say there are already plenty of catalog review videos out there, so today we're going to be focusing on the progress that's been made on my layout. It's been a full 6 months since Layout Update 11, and there's actually a lot that's been done to the layout, added to the layout, and done to the train room in general that I haven't featured in recent videos. So sit back and relax as we dive into everything that's new on the layout right now in Jason's O-Gauge Trains. First, I want to thank all of my new subscribers to the channel. I've passed 13,000 subs and I'm closing in on 14,000. So please hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate your support. And a reminder that if you're shopping online for model trains, be sure to check out trains.com. They carry new and used trains in all scales from all manufacturers, offering a variety of products, locomotives, rolling stock, accessories, and electronics. I recently purchased a bunch of these Z-Stuff relays from trains.com that I'm using with my recently installed signals that we'll be checking out in this video. And if you shop at trains.com using my affiliate link in the description of this video, or use promo code JDstucks at checkout, not only will you be supporting this channel, but you'll receive $10 off of your next order of $50 or more. That's promo code JDstucks for $10 off of your next online order at trains.com. That's trains with a Z. I thought we'd start by checking out everything that's been done to the layout room itself. You may have noticed several new items in the room and on the walls in past videos, but I haven't officially addressed any of it, so let's start by taking a closer look. The first item we'll check out is just down the basement stairs and immediately to the left, and it's this really cool wall art of a Norfolk Southern ES44 made by Stoddarts. It's highly detailed and even has battery-powered lights that turn on and off with a switch underneath. Stoddarts is currently relocating their business, so they're closed at this time. They anticipate reopening in late 2023. I was lucky enough to pick this up in an online auction. Chris's Trains and Things actually helped bid on this for me while I was traveling in Europe for work, so thank you, Chris. This Stoddarts wall art is a great addition to the layout room. Next, we have this article frame of my 2021 magazine feature in Classic Toy Trains magazine. This ended up being much larger than what I originally had in mind, maybe a bit braggadocious, but I must say it's done extremely well and fills this wall space quite nicely. I purchased it from that'sgreatnews.com and they had it shipped to me in less than 2 weeks. What a great way to preserve the article of my old layout. I also hung this black curtain around a few sections of the layout. This actually came from the old layout, so it doesn't fit perfectly, but it gets the job done until I decide to get new ones made, but it really does clean up the look of the layout and the room. If we go to the other side of the room, I have another small curtain section right here as well. Next, we have this little bar table with 4 chairs. It's pretty covered in building supplies right now, but it's really nice when it's cleaned off to sit here, review trains, or watch the trains run, have a drink, and it'll be a nice place to sit when I have visitors over to the layout. I also have this lighted Norfolk Southern clock that I got from my buddy Bob. Bob is a good friend and big fan of this YouTube channel, and he sent this to me for my birthday. So a big thanks, Bob. This lighted clock is really cool. And here is something I'm really excited about. A brand new display shelf next to the roundhouse. This was built by Detroit 3-Railer member Joe Delude. Joe is a professional cabinet maker and also made the large shelf hanging over here in the TV area. His work is second to none. I love the job he did with these. While there are a lot of great options out there for train shelves, there's something about high quality wood shelves that feel solid and elegant. Thank you, Joe, for taking on this project. I also hung this photo of the Norfolk and Western 611, which was taken and gifted to me by Adam Matthews, known as Train Wizard Productions on YouTube. He was even kind enough to sign the back of it. Thank you so much, Adam. I also received a few Christmas gifts from my buddies Maddie C. and Steve. Check this out. They sent me 5 of these Norfolk Southern glasses. How cool is that? Not only that, they sent me these Norfolk Southern coasters, 4 of them. Very cool. And they sent me this. That's a wood placard, obviously with Norfolk Southern on it, and a bent railroad spike. At first I was like, what the heck is this for? I thought it was a coat hanger or something like that. No, this is a bottle opener. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Maddie C, and thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. This was really way too generous of you. I hope that we get to run into each other a lot in 2023, either here at my layout or probably out in Pennsylvania at the next TCA York train show. Next, let's look at the layout progress. And while it may not seem like a lot has been done, I have been hard at work. Let's check it out. First, I've done more signal wiring. I installed these 2 custom signals made by K&R Custom Signals. The one on the right is a single head G-type that is activated by an insulated rail. The one on the left is a dual-headed G-type signal, which is activated both by an insulated rail and this infrared sensor in this Z-Stuff relay that I picked up from trains.com. I'm not going to go deep into the wiring of how these are set up, as that would probably take an hour. But they have been set up for prototypical operation. For example, when a train passes by the signal on the main line, it drops to red until that train has cleared the block. When this switch is thrown in the reverse position, the signal aspect changes to reflect the line into the yard as clear, and also changes to red as the train passes. The signal on the right is much simpler, as it is operated as a traditional block signal. When the train enters the block section of track, it changes to red. I also have the option to permanently change all signals to red by activating a permanent ground wire through the MTH accessory interface unit. So all of the signal wiring is done on the middle level, but I also insulated some rails on the upper level in anticipation for installing a few more signals. Doing all this wiring is a bit painstaking, but in my opinion, the realistic operation is worth the struggle. Something you would have never noticed is that I took up track along the front section here in order to add insulator pins between my 2 inner loops. Why did I do that? You see these 2 Lionel bricks? I'm adding more power to the layout.
And more power, baby.
The inner 2 loops are currently on the same power district and occasionally short out due to insufficient power. Trust me, when you're running 8 engines on these 2 loops, 40 plus cars, and the smoke units are on, it's pulling a lot of amps. So now I'm splitting up these 2 inner loops by adding more power.
And more power, baby.
Through a second MTH TIU. Yes, you can run 2 TIUs on a layout together in what's called super mode. I already have the second TIU that I purchased from my buddy Sean on Instagram. Thank you so much, Sean. So one of the bricks is going to power the inner loop, and the second brick is actually going to power the peninsula. There's so many sidings and trains parked over here that the DCS signal becomes very weak when it's tied into the rest of the layout, especially my largest loop that goes around the entire main table. So the idea is for this entire area to be on its own power supply and TIU channel to help improve the DCS signal and overall operation. That should work, in theory. Moving on. I cut another access hole in the table. My buddy Dave Lambert came over to help me cut this out with his router drill. Thanks so much for your help, Dave. You made this a whole lot easier than it would have been if I did it by myself. This entire cutout section is going to be inside of a huge mountain. So I've got to be able to get inside to clean the track and rescue any trains if they derail. Or maybe it'll be where I hide as a safe space.
My safe space.
Moving on to the intermodal yard, I've reconfigured the tracks here several times, and I think I'm finally happy with how it's set up. I'll eventually make the whole area paved so that semi-trucks can move around and be loaded with intermodal containers. I brought more of my intermodal equipment from the old layout, and this area is starting to take shape. I've also started adding tunnel portals to plan for building the mountain. These portals here will give you an idea of where the tracks will enter a mountain. That mountain is going to go all the way up to the wall, and it's going to pretty much block your entire view of the other side of the layout, and it'll hug this elevated track right here. This is going to be a huge mountain going almost all the way to the ceiling, but yeah, you're not going to even be able to see the other side of the layout. Over in the roundhouse area, I added this Lionel coal tower. I love the way this thing looks. But now I'm wondering if I should reconfigure the tracks leading to the turntable as well. I have 4 tracks right now, which isn't really prototypical, so I'm still thinking this area through. All the way on the opposite side of the layout, you'll see a few building flats towards the back that were made by PGH Train Fanatic, a blast furnace on the left, a steel rolling mill to the right, and a mail pouch tobacco barn even further to the right. These are printed and glued onto foam and even have lights built into them. I may need to move the blast furnace around a bit because of the perspective it's photographed at. Maybe once I do scenery I can blend it in a little better, so we'll see. Finally, I painted and installed this girder bridge strip over the middle level. It was originally gray, but I painted it flat black. However, I'm kind of tempted to switch it back to the gray. Regardless, I'm really happy with the way this looks. Over here, I also have this transformer. I already had the power supply, but I needed a new controller. And thanks to RJ from RJ's Trains, he sent this to me. This is going to be used for the inside upper loop. I'm going to have an option to actually change that loop between command control and conventional control. So once I put the fascia up here, I'm going to plan to have a little cutout where this transformer will go with a switch. So I'll throw that switch back between command control and conventional, and I could run any kind of old conventionally controlled locomotive on this inside loop. And here's a cool building addition. This is an MTH building that was actually weathered by Detroit 3-Railer member Bob Shaw. How nice does that look? I know the base is missing. I do have the sidewalk base. I just have to install it still. But this is a really cool addition. I might change the name of the building. It's currently an ice cream place. But look at this. Bob also added this Detroit 3-Railer billboard. And I really like this. Look, he has the guy on the ladder going up to replace the light bulb that burnt out on the billboard. And that light really did burn out and melt like that. So he turned that into a cool little fun scene. This row of buildings is looking pretty good. Now let's take a look at a few of the new train items that have recently been added to the layout. First is this MTH Conrail caboose that was given to me by my friend Bob for Christmas. I really like this thing. It's modeled after a real caboose that Norfolk Southern owned when it took over half of Conrail. It fits in perfectly with my collection. I love that it is in the Conrail paint scheme, but it still says Norfolk Southern in the middle of the cab. Thanks so much, Bob. Next are a few Christmas gifts that I received from my sister and her family. It wouldn't be Christmas without some kind of train gift, right? They got me this Atlas Trainman gondola in the Conrail paint scheme. This is going to look great as a buffer car with my hot metal steel train. And they also got me this MTH Premier Line steel coil car in the South Shore freight paint scheme. I used to see these every day when I lived in Chicago, and I'm really glad to have one on the layout. And if you remove the lid from this car, it will reveal the steel coil loads, which I haven't even taken out of the plastic yet. Both me and my sister are in the steel industry. I actually sell this kind of coiled steel to my customers. My mom was even in the steel industry as well. I guess it runs in the family. My sister also gave me this. It's a cup with my channel logo on it. How cool is that? I have a great family, some really awesome gifts that I received for Christmas. Next is this beautiful Atlas O Masterline Milwaukee Road Berwick. These are some of the nicest cars ever produced in O-Gauge, and this is my first one in the Milwaukee Road paint scheme. I think it looks awesome in this vibrant yellow color. I won't mention who helped me acquire this, but he knows who he is. He's an awesome friend, and I can't thank him enough. Next is this Norfolk Southern Atlas Masterline caboose. I've got to thank my buddy Christian for this. This thing is sharp. I love the gray color with the black NS logo. It's Atlas Masterline, so the detail is second to none, and it has this flashing red light on the end of the caboose. It doesn't get much better than this. What an awesome addition to my collection. I don't think I'll ever be able to take this off the layout. Thank you so much, Christian. Next, we have this MTH Premier Muncie and Western beer car that was given to me by Chris's Trains and Things, Sam's Trains, and Sid's Trains. This was a thank you gift from them for hosting them at my house a few times in 2022. Nice bright colored car that will be a great addition to one of my Steam era freight trains. Thanks so much, guys. Here's something I know you modern guys will be jealous of. This maintenance of way truck with a high rail setup made by Sword Precision Replicas. Don Lambert put this together for me using decals from Microscale and a high rail conversion kit made by Scale Model Division. It's not powered, nor does it roll along the rails, but it does look great in photos and videos. I'm going to add some more details in the future, but for now, a big thanks to Don for putting this together for me. And finally, this MTH Premier Lehigh Valley Hopper car, which was a gift from my buddy Tony over at the Rambles YouTube channel. Tony came up to Detroit for my Trainapalooza event back in August and gave this to me as a thank you gift for inviting him. That certainly wasn't necessary, but Tony, thank you so much for this freight car, and I'm really glad you were able to come up and hang out with us this past summer. It is also worth noting that the Nickel Plate Road GP35 that I featured in my last video, it is up for sale. There is nothing wrong with this locomotive. It looks great. It runs great. I simply have my sights set on some future purchases, and I'd rather use the money to buy those. So if you're interested in purchasing this locomotive, please reach out to me at the email that I've provided in the description of this video. I am asking $500 shipped to the continental US. So what's next for the layout? Well, now I'm making a big push to weather all of my track, which needs to be done before I can start building my mountains. I've made several track weathering test samples, as you can see here, experimenting with a lot of paint colors and techniques to figure out the best result for me. I'll probably use a combination of airbrushing and hand painting to achieve my desired result. Neil Shore gave me a lot of pointers on track weathering. He has an amazing layout and posts a lot of photos on the OGR forum, so a big thanks to him for all of his advice. And my dad gave me an airbrush for my birthday, so a big thanks to him as well. Here's the sample that I'm the happiest with. The final result will look something similar to this, although I may darken the color of the ballast some more. This is actually recycled ballast from the old layout. It's Woodland Scenic's coarse gray blend, further darkened with flat black spray paint. And speaking of the old layout, the teardown continues. I recently removed all the trees from the layout. The track is all gone and ballast sucked up, and there's not much left other than to tear down the benchwork and bring a few more items up here to Michigan. Always a sad sight to see, but this new layout is already so much better. So track weathering is the next big step for the layout. I figured I'd better make this layout update video before the layout gets even messier from all the painting, but I think it's gonna look really good once it's all done. And I should bite my tongue with what I'm gonna say next, but I can't help myself. Every single video, multiple people ask, when are you gonna start scenery? Aww. There, I've started. Okay, joking aside, I really don't know an exact date of when I'm going to start scenery. I guess if you consider building the mountain scenery, then hopefully in the next couple months, but I've got to get this track weathering done first. Well, that's going to do it for this layout update. As always, I'll leave you with footage of the trains running. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the new items and the progress that's been made. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Post your questions and comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. $10 off of your next online order of $50 or blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my hand, it hurts. Oh.
Friends.
And welcome to, what am I doing? Filming an update video. That's what I'm doing. All right, I can move over here. I can move over here. And welcome to layout update 12. I don't know what I'm doing. So much room for activities. We did it.